this one, I will be making this one today. Hi, my name is Alex and welcome to the Crochet Circle. In today's video, I want to show you how I created this crocheted Christmas tree. Now, this is going to be a series of 3 tutorials. In the first one, I'm going to show you how to make the cone, the base. In the second one, I'm going to show you how to make these tree branches, and then in the third one, I'm going to show you how to add the bulbs on the Christmas tree. And this is part 2. If you didn't watch the part 1, this is the base that you will need to continue working on this Christmas tree, because in this video tutorial I'm gonna show you is it gonna work? Yes, it is. I'm gonna show you how to make these are they called tree branches? Well, how to make the actual tree. It does bulk up a little bit, and I think we can start. But yeah, don't forget, you will need the base of the cone for this Christmas tree. Down in the description below, I will also put a link to the first part of the video tutorial, so you will know how to make this cone. And I think we can just begin, because I have my crocheted cone ready. And what to say about this video tutorial? So as you can see here, there are kind of clumps or clusters of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochet stitches in one stitch, and then just worked all the way around and around and around, and at the end you get this nice full Christmas tree. I did here up to rows where I have 24 stitches. Now these branches are gonna be done continuously all the way around, so to be honest, it doesn't matter how many stitches you have, because you're just gonna be working them all the way around to the top from the bottom. Okay, and I think we can just start. So you finished here, you have your last single crochet stitch, and I'm just gonna make a slip stitch in the back loop only. Now the first row is actually gonna be done twice, once in the back loops and then the second time in the front loops. Let's just focus a bit more here. So yeah, first round around is gonna be in the back loops, and then the next one is gonna be done in the front loops, just to make it a bit more full at the bottom. And how to do them? Now up here on the top left corner, as you perhaps already noticed, there will be a pattern how to do them, but it's really simple. Now I did a slip stitch, if I get the focus here. So yeah, I did the slip stitch. I'm gonna skip one stitch, and then in the next one, so I'm skipping one, and in the next one I'm gonna do 6 double crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, I'm gonna skip one stitch, and then the next one I'm gonna do a slip stitch. And now just repeat that all the way up to the top. Again, skipping one stitch, and the next stitch I'm gonna do 6 double crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. skipping one stitch, and in the next one, back loop only here. This is the first row, this is a bit of an exception, a slip stitch. Again, skipping one, in the next one, 6 double crochet stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skipping one, in the next one, a slip stitch, skipping one, in the next one, 6 double crochet stitches. Skip one, in the next one, a slip stitch, skip one, and in the next one, 6 double crochet stitches. Now don't worry if you think these big holes are here now, because in the next row you're gonna grab the front loops and they're gonna tighten up. So yeah, but for now just doing 6 double crochet stitches in one stitch. Now if you want, what you can also do is you can do 6 double crochet stitches, a picot, and then another, sorry, 3 double crochet stitches, a picot, and another 3 double crochet stitches, just to kind of have a nice pointy end of the branch. But I opted for this nice and rounded one. Again, skipping one, and 6 double crochet stitches in. Okay, and this is now where you have to kind of find the first front loop of the row, and you put your slip stitch into it. And now again you skip one stitch and you make another of those clusters, but I don't want these branches to overlap. So what I'm actually gonna do is I am gonna try and kind of offset just a tiny bit the first cluster of 3 double crochet stitches, so that they don't overlap, you see, so that they kind of are more of a random thing. And for me that works kind of fine, because the next one is just in the middle of the, just one before the cluster of the 6. Again, just do clusters of 6 double crochet stitches and then join them to make this nice roundy edge. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skipping one stitch and joining it into the next one. You see they don't quite overlap, but they are a bit offset, so they are not exactly on top of each other. That is the main point. Okay, so skipping one and in the next one. Now don't forget to grab the front loop only, and you do these clusters of 6 double crochet stitches all the way to the top. Now I am gonna show you how I kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I do when there is, where you have to go up into the next row. So just stay with me, and once you will get the idea on how to do it, you can then continue with in your own pace, just so that you, oops, so that's one, just so that you can then continue making this tree, because don't forget, the height of the tree is up to you. I went up to 24 stitches on a row, but you can make it shorter or you can make it longer. That's why it's not set in stone where you should put your hook in and how you should organize your tree branches. But yeah, you just work these things all the way around, and at the end, it works out. It works out for different sizes, for different counts of the length of the tree. Skipping one and then doing a slip stitch. Skipping one and doing a slip stitch. Sorry, not a slip stitch, but a cluster of these stitches. Now, perhaps you thought that your cone was a bit too thin. You can see that it gives it a nice edge, the branches that we are making, and it's gonna be much fuller and much fatter. A slip stitch to join, and another cluster, one skip, and that's it. So yeah, this is not like a fixed tutorial, you have to do this and you have to have that many stitches. It's just a way how I do it, and yeah, perhaps showing you how you can do it to kind of get a good Christmas tree. I hope it will help you, to be honest. But yeah, okay, so I'm here at the last stitch. I hope you can see it, and here actually starts a new row of increases, and I have here the back loops. So what I like to do is, I'm not gonna then skip one and go up one row, but I just grab the nearest front loop of the next row and make a slip knot. And I'm just gonna continue like that. Like, try making a space of one stitch in between, and then if it falls a bit forward or a bit backwards, it doesn't matter. It's nature, you don't have to align it perfectly. It actually looks much better if it's not aligned and it's more random. Okay, and now just continue with making these clusters of 6 double crochet stitches. So for example, here I have, on this row, I have one stitch of the front loop on, let's say it on top, and then here is the hidden front loop stitch on the bottom side. So I'm not gonna skip one and then go up, so I'm gonna just start here in the bottom, and I'm gonna just continue with these clusters of 6. Now it can look a bit messy, but just crochet those clusters of 6 double crochet stitches. Don't make too, even if you make a mistake or you make only 5 or you make 7 of them, it doesn't matter, to be honest. Just as long as you are spacing them nicely around, you're gonna be fine with it. So yeah, it's not set in stone how many stitches you have to do to get this Christmas tree. I started with 24. You can do 22 or even go up to 30, so it's gonna be much bigger. But also it does depend on your crochet hook and your yarn size. I am using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook here, and the yarn that is used with this kind of a crochet hook. Of course, if I would be using a thicker yarn and a bigger crochet hook, the Christmas tree would come out much bigger. But also, if I would be using a 1 millimeter crochet hook, the Christmas tree would be much smaller. But yeah, this is it. This is how these branches are done. I would suggest that you come back here when I'm gonna be in the last few rows, because it's gonna be a bit different, because I'm not gonna be doing these clusters of 6. But for now, you do it in your own speed. I'm gonna do it in my own speed. I'm not gonna talk, and I'm gonna just speed it up, and I'm gonna come back to you when I'm like up here. Okay, so let's say I'm kind of back now with the normal speed. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more rows of increases to make the round branches around the cone. In the beginning, it was a bit hard with the top, and guess what? At the end, it's gonna be also a bit harder because you will have to bend it to kind of get the place where you have to put the crochet hook in, and to get all the rest of these clusters out of the way, so you're gonna be able to grab your working yarn and do double crochet stitches. 6 of them, don't forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, I'm not gonna say you have to put a hook into that row and make so many of them. This is more of a recipe how I am doing it, because you might have a different number of stitches for each row. Okay, so I am slowly getting to the end, and the last 2 rows of increases are actually not gonna be done with these clusters of 6 double crochet stitches, but I'm just gonna be doing some chains, because don't forget, on top of the tree the branches are much thinner and much shorter, so, and it's gonna be also much easier for me and for you to crochet those branches. So again, I'm going one, is it a row? Well, because I was working in continuous rounds, the row doesn't start and end at the same level, so that's why I kind of have to switch a bit to get into the right position. So I'm just doing these clusters, trying to hold it together, trying to get the previous branches out of the way so I can then crochet each row separately. I think I'm gonna do 2 more, because here is already the last 2 rows of increases. Skip one and do these clusters in. Now, depending on your number of base stitches of the cone, you could have a totally different form of your branches, and they look a bit messy for now, but I am gonna show you how to make them nice and straighten them up. So doing 6 double crochet stitches, skipping 1 stitch, making a slip stitch and another skip, and then another cluster of 6 double crochet stitches. 3, 6, skipping 1. Now, sometimes the first stitch of the row is, the front loop is a bit hidden, so you kind of have to pull it out to get it out of the way. I'm gonna do another cluster of 6, and then I'm gonna start with single crochet stitches. So this is gonna be a cluster of 6 double crochet stitches. to be honest. You could do the same thing all the way up to the top, but I am not. I'm gonna be doing some single crochet stitches, and if you want to know why, well, I already mentioned it, because the branches on top are much smaller. Okay, so first I'm gonna slip knot, of course. I'm gonna finish this, and then in each of the front loops I'm gonna be doing first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains and joining them with the slip stitch, and another 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains and joining it with the slip stitch. I'm gonna do this like 4, 5 times, and then I'm gonna switch to 3 and do a few of the, no, I'm gonna switch to 4 and then I'm gonna switch to 3, and then I'm gonna come up all the way to the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking for that front loop. As I mentioned, you can also just finish up with doing just the clusters of 6 double crochet stitches, but I am making a bit smaller branches for the Christmas tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. I'm going to do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to switch to 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 4. Don't forget, the first front loop can sometimes be a bit tight and hidden. And another 4 stitches, 4 chains. One, 2, 3, 4, and finding the front loop. I have it here. I just can't. Now you can opt here for a smaller crochet hook if you want, and it's gonna be easier. Okay, I have to undo this because it's not nice, and I split the yarn. One, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna do the rest of them in 3 chains. Again, on the top here, it can be a bit harder to see, but those are the first increases where you went from 4 to 6, and it was a struggle in the beginning, and it's just a tiny bit of a struggle at the end, but don't worry. If I was able to do it, I believe in you, and so can you do it. Oh look, and this is actually the last front stitch, and I am done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, go inside with my crochet hook and poke the crochet hook where I want the stitch to end. I am gonna now grab it and pull it to the inner side, and then I'm just gonna make a knot. So that's the wrong one. I'm gonna make the knot with the beginning, with the starting tail, because you see I have both tails in, so starting tail and end tail. I'm gonna try to turn it up out, inside out just a bit, and now make a knot. A double knot, a triple knot, and let's make it a quadruple one. Okay, so now I can cut the yarn, turn the Christmas tree on the right side, and this is it. Now you may notice it doesn't look as nice and pretty as this one, so how to go from this to this? That's easy. I have some water here. I'm gonna spray it lightly, inside, outside, everywhere. Okay, so this is now a bit damp, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my tweezers and I'm just gonna pull and turn the clusters facing the right way, and then wait for it to dry, so I will be able to put on the bulbs. I'm gonna then decorate the Christmas tree in my next video tutorial, so that will be now the part 3. Don't forget, in part 1 I showed you how to make the base cone, in part 2 I showed you how to make the branches, and I'm showing you now how to make it nice and straighten up the branches so that they are pointing the right way. And once this is done, once this is dried, it's time to decorate it, and this will be in part number 3. I hope you will join me, and until the next time I'm gonna say happy crafting!